Welcome to Straight Talk Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, September 15th, 2020, and this is our part of our financial wellness series. Today we'll be looking at establishing and improving your credit. I'm Brent Bowers, a retirement plan advisor at Retirement Plans Inc., and this presentation has been put together with Rich Myers, a retirement plan advisor at Retirement Plans Inc. Let's look at today's agenda. The key concepts we'll cover are understanding your credit score, ways to establish credit, and improving your credit score. But first, let's take a look at understanding your credit score. There are three main agencies that provide a credit report that factor into your credit score. These are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Those credit reports, while not specific to a score, are utilized by what's known as a FICO score. This is the most common score of credit reporting that you'll find, although there are others in the marketplace. A typical person's FICO score will be made up as follows. 35% will be based on payment history, 30% based on amounts owed, 15% length of credit history, 10% on credit mix, and 10% based on new credit. So for payment history, for example, this means they are looking at, have you been able to previously make payments on time? Have you had late payments or delinquent accounts? On the amounts owed piece, they're looking at how much of your credit are you utilizing. Utilizing credit is not necessarily a negative. However, if you're utilizing a large portion of your credit line available, then they'll view you as a higher risk for default. Your length of credit history, making up 15% of that score, is based on your length of credit accounts. What is your oldest age of account, your newest age of account, and the average age? Credit mix. There are different types of credit, and they're looking at your ability to utilize the different types and successfully manage those. And then lastly, new credit. Have you had a number of new credit requests over a certain period of time? Or how many or lack thereof have you had? There to the left, you'll find the ranges of FICO scores and their ratings. So as you can see, for example, a very poor score would be somebody that has a 300 to 579 credit score. On the flip side, an exceptional score would be 800 to 850. Quick financial fact here, 67% of Americans have a good FICO score or better. So that means their FICO score is 670 or better. Next, let's look at ways to establish credit. So you may be sitting here going, how do I establish credit when I have none if I can't get approved for a loan? Well, you still may be able to get approved for a loan without a credit history, although that interest rate would likely be higher than somebody that has established a credit history and has good credit. You may find it hard still to get approved for credit without a history. So therefore, here are 4 ways we can establish credit when we have none. First, we can obtain a loan through a cosigner. So somebody that already has good credit could cosign for a loan for us, and that will allow us to get approved when otherwise we would not be able to. However, that loan will bear interest, so that is a negative, and it may be hard to find somebody to cosign for you because in the event that you default on the loan, they will be liable. Second, we can become an authorized user on someone else's credit card account. What's nice about this, if we are made an authorized user, we are not required to utilize credit on that credit card, but as that other person pays their bill on time every month, it builds our credit. The risk of that is if the other person fails to make their payments on time or are making late payments or potentially default on that credit card, then that will hurt our credit score. Third, we can get a starter or secured credit card. So while these are similar in nature, there's a couple differences here. The starter credit card is typically provided by a financial institution with a very low credit limit, such as $500 or $1,000. They typically come with an annual fee, and the interest rate on that starter credit card is typically higher than what you'd see on others. The secured credit card is basically that. However, on a secured credit card, the institution requires you to keep on deposit whatever your credit limit is. So therefore, if you have a $1,000 credit limit, you would need to maintain $1,000 in an account with that financial institution. And lastly, while not normally reported to credit agencies, paying rent or utilities may be something that you can petition to have included on your credit report. You could ask those that you're paying rent and utilities to report those payments you are making in a timely manner. Also, things such as Experian Boost utilize access to your bank account to recognize those reoccurring payments and give you credit for making those payments on rent, utilities, and potentially cell phone usage. Now let's take a look at improving your credit. So you may be in a position where you've established your credit, but you may have a score that you want to be able to increase. And this, having a higher score, obviously puts us in a position to be able to borrow money at a better rate and likely obtain more financing options. First things first is we want to be able to look at our credit reports from those 3 different agencies. What's nice is there's legislation in place that allows us to obtain these reports once a year for free. Annualcreditreport.com would be able to provide this to you. What we'll want to do once we've obtained those reports, we want to look and see if there's any errors on those reports. If there are, we want to be able to dispute those reports with those bureaus that directly have that mistake listed. This will likely increase our credit score once we get those disputes fixed. Make sure to pay bills on time. That goes without saying. We want to make sure that any of our debt obligations we're making in a timely manner and on time to those debt institutions. Next, let's lower our credit utilization. When we look at our credit line available, so let's say we have $10,000 available to us between a credit card and a loan, we want to make sure that utilization is no more than 30%, so that'd be $3,000. That has been given the benchmark for which lenders will look at and make sure that you're not utilizing too much of your credit line. Obviously, the lower we can have on our credit utilization usually is better. Be thoughtful when opening new accounts. If we have too many requests and it's too short of a time span on new credit requests, that'll be looked as a negative and will impact our credit score negatively. The next one, which I don't think we think about necessarily, is don't close unused credit cards. That's only if we're not incurring a cost to keep that credit card open. The reason we want to keep it open, even if we're not using it, is it helps with our credit utilization. Our credit line number's higher, thus lowering the percentage that we're utilizing. And 2, it can add to our length of credit history, especially if it's a credit card that we've had for a number of years. And then finally, if you do happen to have some blemishes on your credit report, you might have had some late payments or maybe had a tax lien at one point, those things don't last forever. So that's the good news. The bad news is they do say on your credit report, most of them for 7 years. Things such as late payments, foreclosures, tax liens, repossessions, those will last for 7 years on your credit report. The one outlier here would be bankruptcies, which last for 10 years. Now that you understand how to establish your credit or improve your credit, we need to take action. So one of the things we want to be able to do is to access our FICO score, just to be able to monitor and make sure our credit is where we expect it to be, or to know if we need to make improvements or not. Many financial institutions that you may have a credit card with, such as Discover or PNC or Chase Bank, they typically will provide you your FICO score for free monthly. If that's not an option for you, websites such as Credit Karma and the like also are available to you to be able to get your FICO score for free. If you have any questions on establishing or improving your credit score, please feel free to reach out to Rich or myself, and we'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you for joining me for this week's edition of Straight Talk Tuesday. I hope you found it informative and beneficial, and I look forward to speaking with you on our next installation of our financial wellness series. Have a great rest of your day.